the first assignment. So the assignments, as I mentioned earlier, they all build on each other, right? And this is the first of several assignments, right? That each assignment will address a particular technology or a particular strategy, right? And then apply those strategies to keep adding to a growing application. Okay. Most of the assignments we will get started here in class, right? So some of the features that we're asking you to do, you'll walk out of here with that feature already built. Okay. You're free to reuse my source code, and some of that what we learn working here in class, I'll then ask you to do something on your own on other features for the same assignment. Yes. Or we'll start on something and we will partially complete it, or maybe do a skeleton or a really quick prototype of what it is that we're asking you to do, and then you'll use that source code that I will push to GitHub. You can use that to then go on and complete it on your own. Make sense? So for this first assignment, we are looking to introduce the technologies of HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. So HTML, as you might know, it's the hypertext markup language for being able to lay out the content of your page, right? Whereas CSS is a technology for being able to format or the look and feel of that content, right? It can also be used for laying it out and having it be responsive as folks resize their pages, and so this assignment is for you to become familiar with these techniques. A lot of the techniques for making applications responsive and adapt to the size of the screen have been collected over time into very nice reusable libraries such as Bootstrap. Right, so we'll talk about Bootstrap as a very popular library for easily laying out pages into implementing this responsive design. So we'll be working on the following features. Again, a lot of these features you'll walk out of here with already built here in class. We'll work on it together. We'll make mistakes together. We'll fix them together, right? And then you can reuse that at your leisure. The first couple of features that are going to work is the homepage. Again, we're building, if you remember, a learning management system, online learning management system, and using the React, Java middle tier, MySQL stack, right? So that's what we're using the first half of the semester. So we'll first use HTML to build a couple things. As a faculty, when I log in to Whiteboard, I should typically see the courses that belong to me, right? The ones that I'm teaching, the ones that I'm still working on, right? That I'm building the course, I'm creating content. So when I log in, my homepage is a list of courses, right? I should be able to create a course, remove a course, navigate into a course, and tweak the course. Yes. So that will be my landing page, right? A list of courses, a course list. There's also going to be a couple of pages for me to be able to identify myself, register, and log in, and say who I am, and perhaps editing some personal information, right? My email, my phone number, some of that stuff as well, some profile information. And then another page that might be of interest is a page that might allow me to edit the course, right? Where if you're on Whiteboard, you might have on the left-hand side, the different piece of content, right? Like this. That's right, where you have a kind of left-hand side, right-hand side, where you might have different pieces of content here that can be moved around in different order, or I can create new ones, new pieces of on the left-hand side. Yes, and then on the right-hand side you have many drop-downs or tabs, or that allow you to navigate into different portions of the different portions of the course. You have all different types of widgets that have titles, that have lists, that can allow you to embed videos, allow you to embed slides, right, and also allow you to perhaps change the order of these different widgets, right? All these types of different widgets. Yes. So we're looking to build something, obviously not this fancy, but something like that, right? So that would be a course editor. Yes. And so let's take a look at what these might look like. So let's take a look at some of the wireframes. So here's for the login. It'll be a simple form that allows you to type in your username and password. Notice that it's a responsive screen, and responsive in that it changes its layout depending on the size of the available size that it has of the window. If it has enough horizontal space, notice that the form is laid out horizontally, but if it's too small and it doesn't fit, it changes its layout to be vertical, right? And that's what we mean by responsive, right? It adapts to the size so that it's still usable, right, in a smaller screen for any size screen. The for the we give you here a snippet of what might be a useful place to get started. Okay. We also suggest a naming convention for the files. It's a naming convention that we will follow throughout the semester. Usually the naming convention will be that the first part of the file name will be the feature that you're working on. The second part of the name is the purpose of this file. You know, what is it doing, right? Is it styling it? Is it giving a snippet of content? Is it a server service or a control? What is it doing? Is it talking to some database in the back end? What is it doing? Here is a login. This is a template, HTML template that has some content snippet inside of it. Also, there's the third portion of this file. Its client gives you a hint of where this file is executing. Is it executing on the middle tier on the server side, or is it executing on the browser, right? Is the browser interpreting this and rendering this? So, and then the last portion is the format of the content of the file. Yes, this is one naming convention. If you've been in a co-op and that co-op has used another naming convention, then feel free to use that other naming convention. But if you haven't, then use my naming convention. Okay. This is very common that when you join a team, the team comes up with some naming convention for the file system. Yes, and how to organize the file. And so this is the one that I am choosing. Also, we're asking that all these components, right, all these elements, the label, the input field, the button, the hyperlinks, right, all these elements, we're asking you to decorate them, to add classes to them, and we'll do that together. Add the following classes for the username field, the input field, to add the following two classes: webdev field and then webdev username. For the password field, webdev field and then webdev password. For the button, login button or link, webdev button and then webdev login, and so on and so forth. Yes? All right, we're asking you to do this because the TAs are going to have some automated scripts that are going to validate your user interfaces. Okay, and those scripts depend on you having those classes on those fields. Okay, if you don't have them, they're going to have to grade you manually and do this manually. It'll be they'll probably have to do that anyway. They're still working kinks out of the scripts anyway, so they'll probably have to do it manually anyway. We are asking you to please use good source control etiquette and good practice, meaning that every time you reach a point in your development, a stable point in your development, to please create a commit, right, to add whatever files you need for that particular feature you just completed, right, and add a comment to your commit. So for the login page, we would expect at least one commit for those two, the login and the CSS. For the register page, we would also expect another commit. For the profile page, we would expect another commit, right? For the home page, another commit, and for the course editor, another commit. So at least 5 commits. Right? We don't want to see just one big, huge commit where you're committing 20 files at once. Yes? So please break out your commits in the source control as you progress. For the register page, this is the name of the file that we're suggesting. This is the style sheet that goes along with that HTML file. If you have any styling that is specific to that page, we're suggesting that you put it in its own CSS file. If there's nothing specific about styling about that HTML page, that's fine to leave it empty. Okay. But if you have something that's specific to that one file, this is where it should live. It is also a good practice to have a global style sheet that they all use. Yes. Yes, thank you. So this look and feel is you're free to make this look any way you want, right? So it doesn't have to use these colors. It doesn't have to use these rounded corners, right? So feel free to to surprise us, right? Well, not too much, but the functionality should be the same, right? The functionality should be the same. Also, we're suggesting using Bootstrap to lay it out. But if you feel comfortable using other libraries, or if you feel comfortable using Flex, if you've already done some of that, then sure, go ahead if you feel comfortable doing those things. If you don't, Bootstrap is a really, really easy way of laying out things responsive. Okay. So again, this is the register page in layout form and in portrait form. And again, the classes that we're suggesting that you add for the elements for our testing scripts. Notice that they're very similar, the register page and the login page. So probably just copy paste one of them and you get the other one right away. Also notice that they have hyperlinks that should allow you to navigate between the two pages. From register, you can go to a login, and from login, you can go to register. If you sign up or if you log in, again, we don't have any logic. We don't have JavaScript yet. We don't have a server. We don't have a database yet. So there's no way that we can validate that you're actually that person. Right now, if you click on login, it should just navigate you to the profile page as if you were successfully logged in. Same thing with register. When you register and you sign up, it should navigate to your profile page. And the profile page is just very, very similar to the previous two. It's just a simple form that allows me to edit some personal information. My username, presumably, I can't change. But I should be able to change my phone, my email, my role, my date of birth. Obviously, this is all static. Okay, so we're not really changing anything. Right? Eventually, when we have servers and JavaScript, we will. If I log out, it kicks me back to my login page. If I update, it stays in the same location. Now these fields should be strongly typed. In that the date of birth, that should be a date picker. The role should be a drop down. The email should be an email input field, and the phone should be plain text. So here, just giving you some examples. Well, using the date picker, the drop down, the email should be email, and there should be an alert, right? When we have JavaScript and when we update, it'll go out to the server, it'll update on the server, it'll store in the database, blah blah blah, and then it'll come back with a success saying, yeah, we've updated your profile, right? And then we would pop up this alert, this graying alert saying, yeah, profile successfully updated. Some feedback for the user that something actually happened, yes? But we don't have any of that. We don't have JavaScript. We don't have the server. So for now, just leave a static green alert for now, right? And when we come back and work out the JavaScript, we'll make it dynamic. Okay. Again, most of these we'll work on these together in class, and we'll be done with it. All right. So here's my course list, my home page, my as I log in as a faculty, this is what I might see. Okay. A list of courses that I'm working on, that I'm building, that I'm teaching, and notice that it looks very much like a Google Doc snapshot. So it certainly doesn't have to look like this. Make it look much nicer than much nicer than this. But basically the functionality is that it's a tabular display of multiple courses that I'm working on, and it has several columns. The first column is the title of the course, then who owns it, when was the last time that was modified, and an X button to remove it. Okay, there's also some input field where I can type the name of a new course, click on plus, and then presumably it would add a new course, right, to this list of courses. Yes. It has this landscape view. It also has this portrait view, right? This portrait view is something that I might see on my phone, right? I don't have enough space for all those columns, so most of the columns disappear, right? So the owned by and last open and whatnot, they disappear and they leave me with just the title of the course and then an X button to remove it, right? And I can still create a new course. Make sense, right? And so as the screen becomes bigger and smaller, right, the fields, the columns appear and disappear. Again, the classes that we ask you to create. When I click on a course, if I click on a particular course, it navigates me to the course editor, so I can edit it. So as a faculty, right, once I navigate here, I can see the course that I'm editing. I have an X button to leave and come back to my list of courses. I also have on the left-hand side, I have the different modules. Perhaps they allow me to break out my course into multiple weeks, right? Or different modules that I want to cover. Maybe I want to cover HTML or front end first, or middle tier later, and database later. So these are all the modules. On the left-hand side, I can remove a module, right? Or I can create new modules at the bottom. You can't see this, but there's an input field here where you can type the name of a module, click on plus, and it adds a new module, right? Other cool things that you should be able to do, but they're not represented here, is that I should be able to grab and move the modules up and down, right? That'd be cool. It's not there as a requirement, but it'd be nice to have. As I click on the left-hand side and select different modules, the right-hand changes, right? Depending on what I select on the left-hand side, the right-hand changes, right? So the right-hand side, here we have modules. So a course is made up of a whole bunch of modules. But each module is made up of a whole bunch of lessons. And those lessons are represented here by these tabs. These are tabs. Okay, these are tabs. Notice this tab is highlighted. Okay. Notice that I have a plus sign here to add new tabs. Right. Now, ideally, I should be able to grab and move the tabs around, right? Or be able to, click on an X button and remove it, but it's not listed there. When I select a particular lesson, then I have a whole bunch of topics, for each lesson, right? And the data model is represented here. So the data model should help a little bit. So each course is made up of a whole bunch of modules. Yes. Anybody take databases? Excellent, beautiful. So we have a one-to-many relationship between a course and a module. A module can have many lessons. Each lessons can have many topics, and then each topic can have many widgets. Okay, where the widget could be a YouTube video, a slide deck. It could be a list of bullets. It could be a title. It could be just an HTML paragraph. It could be a hyperlink to a Google Doc. Right? It could be any number of widgets. All right, so a widget is the base, and then you can have several specific specializations of widgets. This is just an example of 4 really, really simple widgets, but you can have any number of widgets. Okay, so graphically, in the course editor, it's represented as follows, right? When you click on the course, you see the modules for that course. If you click on a different course, you have different modules. Again, eventually, right? Right now, it's just static. It's always the same modules for any course, yes? But as we add databases and whatnot, then it will be dynamic, yes? Not yet. So if I click on a module, I will see the different lessons. When I click on the lessons, I'll see different topics. If I click on a particular topic, I have different widgets. And I have here the simplest of widgets, just a heading widget, you know, an H1, H2, you know, being able to edit an H1, yes? And the widget allows me to type in the text of the widget, allows me to select the size that I want, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4. It gives me a preview of what the widget will render as, okay? It also allows me to add new widgets. There's a plus sign here to, you know, keep adding more and more widgets. Allows me to select or allows me to remove the widget, you know, and remove it from the list of widgets. Allows me to select the type of widget this is. Right now, it's a heading widget. It could be a video widget. It could be a raw HTML widget. Okay. It allows me to also move the widget up and down, so I can reorder it. Right. It'd be cool if you could just grab it and drag it back and forth. It'd be nice, but it's not required. Eventually, I should be able to save this to a server. All my updates, I click on save. It pushes all my updates to a server. The server stores it in a remote database, so that when I come back tomorrow, I can see my changes still there. Or I can also click on the preview, and the preview would show me what the student is going to see, right? What would the student see? The student would only see this, the preview. That's all they would see, right? So I could see as a faculty, I can see what my audience will see eventually. Okay. Anyway, so that's, again, all this is static, right? And we're all going to get started here in class, and then you can go on and use that for finishing up for your particular assignments. Okay. All right.